Almighty, I welcome one more time to the Gonzilla Principles today, and we shall be concentrating on what is British and what is American. Quickly, let's look at some basic vocabularies that you will likely want to misinterpret as a result of this closer connection. And probably after today's class, you definitely will have a simple picture to what these vocabularies are all about. Let's start off with what is British or American. So I'm starting off with the first one here, which is anyways. You often hear a lot of students say anyway is right, anyway is wrong. In some quarters you hear anyway is better than anyway. The truth is they are both correct. The basic difference is that British will likely say I will have to do the job anyway without adding the S to it there. That's the suffix S. But Americans will say I will have to do the job anyways. So you have the American having S, which is a suffix to anyway, and the British will naturally just take it out. So whether you're speaking the American or the British English, you just need to know when to use anyway and anyways. Okay? Moving on. Moving on to the second vocabulary I'll be looking at, which is aeroplane and airplane. It is believed that when you mention the word airplane, you are probably referring to the Boeing series, which means that you have a bigger flying object. And when you refer to the airplane, probably you're referring to the helicopter or something smaller that can convey just a fewer number of people. This is totally not true. Airplane and aeroplane can be used interchangeably, and basically the British would prefer to say airplane while the Americans would say airplane. So we could say the richest man just bought an airplane, British. The richest man just bought an airplane, American. I guess we got the difference there. So you know whether you are referring to the airplane or you're referring to the airplane, they're both the same. They have to do with the British and American dialects. Thirdly, I'll be looking at torch and a flashlight. It is believed that a handheld object that can help you see through in the dark is known as a torch. Then a bigger version of it is the flashlight. And in some quarters, you have what we call the torchlight, which is totally out of place. There's no such thing as the torchlight. You either say a torch or a flashlight. A torch is basically used by the British, which is an object we use in seeing the dark, while a flashlight basically American tend to use this vocabulary. So we could say the old man just got a new torch, the British, or the American could say the old man just got flashlight. Okay, I guess I missed my article here. The old man just got a flashlight there. Okay, so moving on to the fourth question here. Curriculum vitae is more like a documentation where you have your personal data and your work experience and academic experience altogether, which is not different from a resume. Okay, I missed my superscript here on top of the E here, something there to give you more like a stronger accent there. So whether you have a curriculum vitae or you have a resume, they both mean the same thing. The British will likely say the applicant submitted his curriculum vitae, but the Americans will say the applicant submitted, mostly flopping the T there, submitted his resume, as the case will be there. So the curriculum vitae and resume means the same thing, but the slight difference in the usage of vocabulary here. At 5, I have flat and apartment. A lot of people tend to mix this out, independent that a flat is just a spacious room that has this convenience in it that includes the toilet and the kitchen, while apartment is a bigger version, probably actually detached building. The truth is, but the flat and apartment mean the same thing. The flat mostly used by the British, flat has been renovated. While Americans will use apartment, say the apartment has been renovated. So both the flat and apartment means the same thing. Okay? Moving on to the sixth vocabulary I'll be paying attention to. This is more like for non-native speakers of the English language, a very big challenge. Mostly when you have these two words placed side by side there. And you should know that it is very clear that when you have these two words here, they tend to bring some sort of confusion when you're having them around. So you need to really get the difference there. Secondary school, high school means the same thing. There's no such difference there. But in some quarters, mostly L2 speakers, that means non-native speakers of the English language, tend to assume or have a strong presupposition that secondary school refers to a system where you have 5 years, while high school has to do with a system with 6 years, amount of time you spend during the period of education at higher and lower or college. The truth is that is not right. But secondary and high school means the same thing. And the British will likely say secondary school. The mayor attended a public secondary school. While the Americans will say the mayor attended a public high school. So the both mean similarly the same thing. It just has to do with a dialectal difference there. Moving into the next vocabulary, which will be a lot of students mispronounce this as plate. No, it shouldn't be pronounced plate, but rather should be pronounced plait. Okay, you plait your hair, and the British will likely say plait. The Americans will likely say braid. Okay, so either you plait your hair or you braid your hair. So the young girls plait their hair, meaning that they make up their hair to look good, while the Americans will say the young girls braid their hair. Okay, so we've got the difference between plait and braid here. Okay, moving on to the next vocabulary I'll be paying attention to, which will be handbag or pose. There is this strong seemingly definition of handbag, meaning a body accessory, or let's say a fashion accessory, not a body accessory, a fashion accessory that ladies carry with a whole lot of special effects in them and seems to be bigger, while the pose is a smaller piece or handheld fashion accessory that ladies carry. So the basic difference there is Americans would use pose, the British would say handbag. So there's not much of a difference between the sizes, though it might be true in some quarters that the handbag is bigger in size compared to the pose, but in grammatical usage, as in vocabulary wise, both the handbag and the pose are basically seen to be the same thing. So while the British will say the handbag is expensive, here the Americans will say the purse is expensive. So basically they're saying the same thing. So they are both correct. Okay. At 9, I'll be looking at something very, very convoluted in usage. A lot of people feel the sitting room seems to be a very small parlor where you can actually meet guests and also have a free time or like a leisure time. While the living room, it is not where you meet guests, but you can actually have a free or leisure time there. That is not true. Both the sitting room and the living room means the same thing. While the British will say sitting room, the Americans will say living room. So you could say the sitting room is beautiful. The Americans will say the living room is beautiful. So they both mean the same thing. Okay? And lastly, on the vocabulary list today is aerial and tenor. The aerial, as mostly used by a lot of people in non-native speaking region, believe to mean that it has to do with a device or an object that you probably have outside connecting to your TV that helps you have a clearer reception. While the antenna, it's the object you have attached to your TV indoors. That is not true, okay? Both the aerial and the antenna means the same thing. While the British will say aerial, the aerial is broken. The Americans will say antenna, the antenna is broken. Now you've got it. Keep practicing and keep pushing the boundaries of your vocabularies as you learn more about the English language. In my next video, I'll be bringing in some basic grammar rules that you need to know. if you love what you watched, why not click on the subscription button below this video and don't forget to hit the notification bell. There you get more educative and informative videos. Hope to hear from you soon. Like the video and leave a comment behind. Bye bye.